Hello, and a very warm welcome back to Middle Earth. Back to me in my room talking about movies. And today I'm going to talk about the Lord of the Rings trilogy, um, and celebrate the fact that they exist and that they are wonderful and the amount that they mean to me, the impact they've had on me. Because, quite frankly, they are they're just an absolute delight. The fact they exist, the fact they're rewatchable, the fact we can sit down and we can go back into Middle Earth anytime we want, and it just feels like such a blessing that these exist. Honestly, I'm so grateful that they do. Um, it's funny, you see, with Middle Earth, I'm not a lore master by any stretch of the imagination. I've not even read the books. For the first time, I read The Hobbit last year as an audiobook, the Andy Serkis one. But I've not read the Lord of the Rings trilogy of books. They're on my list. I hope to get to them. Um, I've not seen the Rings of Power. I've not done a lot of reading or expanded lore research into the world and the universe. Um, I don't even feel like I know Tolkien that well. I saw the Tolkien film with Nicholas Hoult last year as well. But somehow, just through these films and the language and the imagery and the sense of adventure and journey that is conveyed through these films, they've had such a tremendous impression on me, and I admit I'm grateful and very fortunate in the sense that 2001, 2, 3, when the trilogy was coming out, I was 9, 10, 11, and I think by the time Return of the King had come out, the 12A rating had been switched from 12 to 12A. So I'm a bit grey on the specifics of which ones I saw in cinema. I have a vague memory of seeing Return of the King in the cinema, basically, but I'm not completely cast iron on that. I know that I own them all on DVD, and I know that I rewatched them at home on DVD, and that then as I was growing up from that point, when I started to really get into them. Um, yeah, it's hard to know what angle and what approach to kind of go about when talking about these films. Let's just following on from the pattern I've been following here. Let's do a little dive into the some of the numbers. We got Fellowship of the Ring with a 4.4 Letterboxd, good start. We got The Two Towers on Letterboxd at 4.4. Return of the King at 4.5. So yes, well done Letterboxd. Some reasonable aggregate reviews there. Rotten Tomatoes, we've got Fellowship 91% with critics, 95% with audience. The Two Towers 95% with critics, 95% with the audience. And then curiously, we've got Return of the King with 94% critics and 86% with the audience. I'm not going to click on it, I'm not going to go reading and figure out what on earth has gone on there, but that's obviously an anomaly. So we'll skirt over that. IMDb, we've got Fellowship at 8.9, so we're actually getting into the absolute top rated films. Critically on IMDb, Two Towers at 8.8 and Return of the King at 9.0, so that is absolutely the highest rated film I've glanced at on IMDb since doing these series of videos, at least to my knowledge. Um, oh, honestly, you know what? Interesting. I'd always thought Return of the King was my favourite, and to be honest, you could have a three-sided coin and flip it, depending on the day of the week, depending on the weather, depending on the mood, and jump between what's the favourite, what's the better theatrical cut, extended cut. To my knowledge, I've seen both, and with re-watches over time, I don't know where I'm going to sit with exactly what's my favourite. All I know is I'm glad that all of the versions exist, and whether you do what I did last year and watch them all back to back to back in one day, or perhaps space them out over 3 days or a week. There's no right or wrong way. I don't think there are to consume these. I think it's really in whichever way you look to enjoy them. For me, after the rewatches last year, I actually landed in a place where I thought, I think I enjoy Fellowship the most. Maybe it's that sense of that opening setting up of the Fellowship and the sort of introduction of the characters. You've obviously got Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli and Gandalf, and Sam and Frodo's relationship starting there, Merry and Pippin, um, And the time in the Shire, like there's something about the time in the Shire that really, it's just catharsis. I think knowing what's coming ahead with the perils of the journey and the time spent in the Shire is very sacred and very special. Um, yeah, I think maybe if I do a rewatch this year or next year, I think maybe I'll change again. I know obviously, you know, Two Towers is often credited with having the best battle, Return of the King. You get the kind of closure of the story and the ultimate, you know, sense of completeness there at the end. But, you know, you can make an argument for any of the three. And to be honest, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to which is the best. But I think one thing that I feel strongly about is the fact that you know, you're best served by watching all three. I think if you're getting into Lord of the Rings or Middle Earth, you're better served watching all three and appreciating them as one singular kind of long film broken up into three parts. So yeah, um, just kind of strong cast, strong performances. For the vast majority of it, I would say good CGI, great use of practical effects, costume work, the location, the sense of authorship from Ian McKellen as Gandalf. Just everything. It's just Middle Earth. I never felt like I've wasted time spent in Middle Earth, and you know, it's inspired me to go off and play some of the games over the years. Particularly as a kid, I remember playing a lot of Return of the King, and on my two playlists for this year, I've got The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings Lego games to kind of hybridize my appreciation for Lego with Middle Earth. Yeah, there's so again, my understanding of the universe is probably as broad as a river ish and as deep as a puddle, to be honest. And even just with that tiny amount of understanding of the world, I just I love it. And I've always been excited to try and learn more, but sometimes I think, oh, maybe if I go in that direction, learn about that. Oh, there's so many characters, locations, backstory. You know, you've got Third Age, Second Age, First Age. This is just so much to Middle Earth to kind of get your teeth into, and the films really just dip into one aspect of it. But what you get from these films, I feel so lucky to grow up with them, you know, and I look forward to any more sort of time I can spend with them over the course of my life. To be quite honest with you, they feel like Middle Earth. Honestly, feels like a life companion for me, and whenever I get the opportunity to sit down, listen to a soundscape, and reflect on the movies, look up a scene, it just warms my heart. I think in a way that no other film, media, or game franchise has ever done, really. And I've had some real strong impressions on me from other pieces of media, but there's something about Middle Earth, and there's something specifically about these three films that will always just be sacred to me. And yeah, I'm so grateful to have made the time again last year to rewatch them. So yeah, with that, I think I've driven the point home. I love these films, and I think they are absolutely wonderful. And with that being said, thank you for listening, watching, second screening, and perhaps I will catch you in the next instalment. Until then, farewell.